Concept of Sunnah in the Muwatta of Malik ibn Anas, Mcgill University, 1969. Chapter 5. Shafi'i has pointed to many issues on which there was agreement in the practice of the people of Medina, but which Malik has said, this is not the amal of the people of Medina. On such occasions, this statement, the practice is not according to this, of Malik, would mean the practice should not be according to this, according to me. For example, Malik says, the practice is not like this on a certain matter. Shafi brings forth evidence and quotes the Prophet, Ali, Hassan, Ibn Abbas, Ibn Musayyib, Ibn Shihab, and Rabi'a, etc., all from Medina, to show that there was such an amal in Medina. The agreement and the practice of the great authorities of Medina, in fact, was tantamount to the actual practice of Medina. According to Shafi'i, the issue was not only agreed upon and practiced in Medina, but there was also no difference on the point, even in the other regions of the Muslim lands, i.e. in Mecca, in the East, Iraq, and in Yemen. This shows clearly that Malik was talking of the normative practice, whereas Shafi'i accused him on the grounds of the actual practice. Malik declares that the practice that the people have agreed upon with us on a certain issue, and Shafi'i points out that Qasim bin Muhammad and Amr bin Abdurrahman did not hold the same opinion. Shafi'i wants to prove that Malik's claim of the actual ijma' was not correct. Shafi'i, addressing Rabi', says that Malik holds there to be a consensus on an issue, to which Rabi' replies in the affirmative. Shafi'i reminds Rabi' that there was a great majority of people who do not concur with the opinion of Malik. Shafi'i, taking it for granted that Malik in fact held a solitary opinion, of which he, Malik, spoke of as an agreed opinion, continues. Who has forced you to talk of this quote-unquote agreed opinion, to which nobody among human beings has referred? Allah help us. When you corroborate it by saying the practice according to us, if al-amr indakum is equivalent to ijma'a, consensus of the people of Medina, then quote-unquote, why have you opposed them? If it is a meaningless expression, then why have you taken so much pain over it? I am not aware of anyone before who had said such a thing, and whenever I talked to any one of you about it, I did not find him aware of its meaning. Here Shafi'i, taking the expression ijma' at its face value, has disclosed very clearly that ijma' in Malik was not necessarily actual. Rather, Malik declared ijma' to exist on many occasions where in fact there was a difference. Therefore, the ijma' on such occasions must be the normative or ideal ijma'. Another very important point emerges from this passage, namely, when Malik uses corroborative expressions on a given point, which gives the impression of complete agreement in Medina. On such occasions, despite the corroborative expressions, there is in fact no actual agreement, because Malik is convinced about its being ideal, therefore he supports it by confirmatory expressions. Shafi'i, juxtaposing the actual practice of the people of Medina, the opinion of its scholars, and the occasions where Malik has used the expression al-amal indana, al-amr al-mujtama' alayhi indana, ijtima' al-nas, etc., concludes that Malik has not used these expressions to convey the actual practice of the people of Medina and the opinions of its scholars. Rather, they are used to express the practice or consensus in the mind of Malik himself, the ideal practice and consensus, as Professor H.A.R. Gibb, commenting on such issues in his work, Mohammedanism, has said. The Qur'an and the tradition are not, as is often said, the basis of the Islamic legal speculation, but only its sources. The real foundation is to be sought in the attitude of the mind which determined the methods of utilizing these sources. The last sentence of Professor Gibb is very important for the subject we are discussing here. It is in fact, this is underlined, the attitude of mind which determines the methods of utilizing the sources. The attitude of mind of Malik holds supreme authority in the Muwatta in determining what should be accepted from the prevalent material in Medina and what should be modified, and to what extent. Malik evaluates and assesses the sources by that standard and establishes its genuineness and validity. With this attitude of mind, a certain methodology is evolved, serving the purpose of a set of principles which become the standard of judgment and the final criterion. Shafi'i, in this endeavor to find out whether there was actual practice in Medina in respect to the issues where Malik has used the expression amal, describes the practice of Medina and the opinions of its scholars, and comes to the conclusion that the practice of the people of Medina was contrary to the amal described by Malik. Therefore, recurrently he asks, where is the practice? Where is the practice? On this issue, you have opposed the Sunnah and the amal and the reports from the great authorities of Medina. Quote, you say the people have agreement. while the people of Medina with you are saying that the people do not have agreement. Almost on the same grounds, Shaybani has accused Malik on a given point. He says, quote, "These are the hadiths of Ahl al-Medina which can be advanced as argument against them because they report these hadiths and practice them. Malik ibn Anas is one of them who has reported these hadiths. In such circumstances, how can they claim to be followers of hadith, athar? They openly have ignored what they have reported. If we wish to advance argument against them from hadith, we can do so because there are a number of hadith which can be cited on the present issue or on other similar cases. Though our advancing argument against them from the hadiths reported by themselves is the greater argument to be established against them. This is one of the proofs that they have ignored athar, hadiths, and they have followed what they liked, for which they could neither produce athar nor sunnah." From this juxtaposition of the actual practice of Medina and the normative practice of Malik, Shafi'i draws the conclusion the practice is at his discretion, and you call your opinions the practice and consensus. Next to Shaybani and Shafi'i, who are of the view that the amal and the ijma' in Malik were normative, is Rabi bin Sulaiman, the addressee of Shafi'i in his polemics. Rabi has admitted this phenomenon at many places to al-Shafi'i. On a certain issue, Rabi reports consensus of the people of Medina from Malik, and at the end he discloses that by the consensus of people he does not mean the consensus of the people of Medina in general, but the consensus of those whom he liked, though other people may have differences. This means that the consensus was at the discretion of Malik. Further, Malik is further supported by the expression used by Rabi'. In his polemics with Shafi'i, Rabi' will usually support his position by the use of such phrases as "we dislike it" or "we oppose it." In these phrases, the "we" includes Malik. When Shafi'i produces much evidence against the view held by Malik, Rabi' usually does not present other reports from Malik. He either reports فَإِنَّا نَكْرَهُهُ, we dislike it, فَإِنَّا نُخَالِفُهُ, we oppose it, apologies, no Arabic given, or explains Malik's view rationally because it is troublesome. The most telling example in this regard is a case where Malik disregards the practice as well as the report. On this occasion, Shafi'i addresses the Rabi' and says, "The amal and the ijma' are nothing but your own opinions." Now here was the occasion where Rabi' should have defended Malik, and the Shafi'i statement not have been based on truth. But what Rabi said in reply to Shafi'i was that he simply endorsed the opinion of Shafi'i and accepted it completely. Ibn al-Qasim also holds the same view. He has also given certain hints in the Mudawwina to the effect that Malik tried to present a normative practice. There are many examples in the Mudawwina in this regard, but this reporting of a statement from Malik in this connection is very important. On a certain issue he reports from Malik the practice according to me, which in fact is the most important indication of the fact that Malik wanted to present a normative practice. Stay tuned for many more parts.